Welcome to the You on the Camino de Santiago podcast. This podcast is for and about first-time pilgrims walking the pilgrimage routes in Spain, France, and Portugal. With your host, guide and longtime pilgrim, Nancy Reynolds of the Camino Experience. If the Camino starts when you say yes, which I think it does, what are the implications of that? If the moment you decide you are definitely going to do this thing is when the journey begins, what can you expect to happen next after you commit? Hi, this is Nancy, and in my experience, when I say yes to something big, something bold, something that will take me way outside my comfort zone, I have to expect some plot twists along the way. And that's exactly what has happened for my guest today, Dara. Now, that doesn't mean it's bad stuff. Rather, I think what happens is that when we set a big goal or go after a dream, what sometimes shows up is everything that's not that. For example, if you were to decide to walk the Camino as a way to build or lean into your faith, you might find your faith being tested as you plan and prepare for the Camino. If you want to walk the Camino to challenge yourself physically, to take on something bigger than you've ever done before, what might show up are aches, pains, and injuries. I think it might be, God's way of asking, do you really want this? What's it worth to you? Are you willing to do whatever it takes to have this dream of yours become a reality? It's just a theory, but honestly, I could give you lots of anecdotal evidence to support this theory. For example, I will be leading a group from Saint-Jean-Pied-du-Port on the Frances route starting in early May. And when I started training for this walk, I experienced a series of setbacks that mostly made me want to sit on the couch. I got tendonitis from walking too far too soon. Then I messed up my lower back, which aggravated my right knee and hip. And now you may be able to hear that I've got a killer head cold, which is one of the most annoying common maladies known to humankind. Hello, couch. Now, I know it's not just me, because my guest today has had her fair share of physical challenges since saying yes to walking the Camino. And the funny thing about physical challenges, when they come right after you've said yes to your big dream or goal, is that they also come with an emotional and mental toll. We start to question our motivations, our intentions, our very sanity. Am I a fool to think I could do this? Wouldn't I be better off doing something easier? Maybe I should stick to vacationing. Welcome to the Camino, my friend. I spoke with Dara just over a month ago, and this episode is going live as she is counting down to her departure. As you will hear, Dara had a big plot twist, and since we spoke, there have been a few more. But she is determined to make this journey. Faith is like that, I think. When we allow it to, it will carry us through whatever life, or the Camino, throws at us. Let's go ahead and meet Dara. Dara, hi. Thank you so much for being on the podcast with me today. Welcome.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here, Nancy.
Oh, I was just so delighted when you reached out because as you started to share some of your plans, I was like, I kind of want to be on this trip. This sounds like a really fabulous trip. So we're going to cover all of that and get to know you a little bit and what your Camino aspirations are. So let me start, if you don't mind. Let's have you put the pin in the map and share with me your Camino plans.
Okay, well, I didn't know that the Camino existed as I was on my computer one day knowing I needed a vacation, and I'm an active person. I'm a personal trainer and a corporate wellness coach. And my idea of a good vacation is to be outdoors and to be walking. So I was online just looking for an awesome trip to walk and maybe camp, maybe not, but I love all of that. And that's when the Camino appeared in my Google search. And so at the same time, I thought to myself, well, I want to go to Europe in September. I loved the idea of the Portuguese, and I chose the central route. That's where the pin is. And we're starting in Porto.
Okay.
And so, as luck would have it, a friend of mine invited me to go to Lisbon, but she wanted to meet in March of this year.
Okay.
So, March and September were two different things completely. I knew I had to train for it, but I just figured, what the heck, I can make that happen. So, the plan is to meet her in Lisbon, and then we'll go over to Porto and spend a few days there. And then she's going to rent a car and go south, and I'm going to jump on the Camino.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So you're going to walk from Porto after this fabulous vacation. High five. Totally support that. So from Porto to Santiago.
Yes, but I'm also actually going to leave out of a little place called Vilar de Pinheiro. I think
Okay.
that's how it's pronounced, because my research has shown me that the first part of Porto is pretty industrial and pretty, people sounded frustrated that I read online the comments. And so I just went with my intuition and said, okay, I'll just start a little bit further on. I think it's still in that little Porto area, but it's not in at the cathedral in Porto.
Okay. So you'll probably what, take a bus out to that town?
Yes, I think the metro goes pretty much near the trailhead. I need to still research that.
Okay. Okay. These little details, they all come together eventually.
I hope so.
Yeah. All right. And you said the central route, you'll do the central route the whole way?
Yes, I plan to do the central route the whole way. I'm going to add in the spiritual variant and take the boat, which is the Translatio, is I believe what it's called. And it's a nice little boat ride from a town called, I believe, Pontesaurus. Or no, it arrives to Pontesaurus. I'm going by memory here. And then we're jumping off. I'm jumping off the boat. I'm going to say we because now somebody's coming with me. Jumping off the boat, and most people just walk a couple of miles. We're going to go about 8 miles since we had not walked that day. I figure let's just add some more mileage and go to another town.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very good. Now, what made you choose the central route of all the different options on the Portuguese?
That is a great question, Nancy. Well, March is tends to be rainy, so I'm
Mm,
already swallowing that pill to expect it could be rain every day. The coastal and the littoral, I imagine, because I live on the coast, will be more windy and foggy. And because I walk near the water every day and I can do that all the time, for me, going to a town, the little villages and the towns is going to, I believe, just fulfill what I'm looking for in this
okay.
big, yeah.
I completely get that thinking, being a California girl as well. And I was just at the beach yesterday. It's just right over there. And
Yeah.
so, yeah. And so there's that charm of being in the center of the country where all that life is happening and walking through their daily life. Totally get that. But then
Yes.
the spiritual variant, what made you choose that as a little diversion?
I just, I feel like from what I've seen and read and heard on Facebook and YouTube, it's supposedly the most beautiful section of this entire walk. And my jam is literally to be under a tree line, be in the mud, be in the dirt. I love hiking and I
Mm,
love being out in nature. So I'm super looking forward to all of these beautiful little villages and all that comes with the culture and the history of the Camino. At the same time, I'm also looking for that kind of peace and tranquility under the trees. So,
love it. Well, there's no reason why you can't have a little bit of extra natural beauty when you're on a spiritual pilgrimage, I think.
exactly.
And I'm not against eating well as well. So
I'm not either, but I'll tell you, I'm not a fish person, so this is going to
okay.
get interesting.
They have other food. Don't worry. Don't worry.
Okay.
Okay, so we know why you're on the Portuguese route. Well, actually, let me ask you this. Were you originally going to go on the Portuguese route, or did your friend's vacation switch you over to that?
I'd say my friend's vacation influenced it deeply. I also would love to do Francais, but I don't have 30 days
Okay.
right now. And I figured this would be a wonderful kind of way to dabble into doing Caminos because I have a feeling I'm going to become a Camino addict and ultimately do the Francais and the others.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, so you said that you found the Camino by doing online searches and it popped up, but it sounds like there was something about it that grabbed you right away, almost as if you'd been waiting for this. Would you talk a little bit about what has called you to the Camino?
Okay, that's a great question, Nancy, because I very much am a spiritual person, but I'm a person of faith. And I very recently really discovered Jesus Christ in my life. I was raised Catholic, but I was a rebellious college student that sort of left the Catholic Church when I was no longer being dragged to church by my parents. And about 2.5 years ago, I'm going to say it was a connection with the Holy Spirit where I was humbled and I came to a place where I really had to take a look at myself and realize that I've been acting like a victim for the last 25 years in
Mm,
relationships and things in my life. And that I realized in that moment that all of the experiences that I was a part of in those last 25 years got me to where I was that day. And it's a very difficult thing to express and it's if I went into the whole story, it would take forever. But I literally fell to my knees and dragged
mm,
myself happily, not unhappily, to a local non-denominational Christian church where my spirituality just started to evolve. And I started to realize I needed more than that and that there was something missing, and I was called back to Catholicism. And that happened in that coming back to Catholicism happened. And I started into the church about, I'd say, for 8 or 9 months when this revelation of the Camino came to me.
mm.
And I know for a fact that I've always called being outside my church, but now I had an opportunity, and walking being my church and exercise being my church. But now I realize that it was all of this beauty and nature that God created, and it was me being back in the Catholic Church, all coming together. And it was just so clear the Camino was the right choice for me. I was
I
looking
love
at other
that.
things. I was looking at doing the hike on the West Coast. I'm trying to think of what it's called, where you go hut to hut. And I was looking at all these active things, but
Sounds like the Appalachian Trail.
yes, the Appalachian Trail and all that looks great. But when I saw the Camino, it just grabbed at me.
Oh, it sounds like it's got all of the right pieces to it.
I think so. I mean, I know so. I'm dying to go, actually. Can't
Well,
wait to go.
your face is beaming. So there's something going on here that tells me
Yeah.
you are absolutely on the right track. And it's got that really beautiful element that this is a pilgrimage route, whether or not most of the people walking it see it that way or see the significance of the Catholic pilgrimage part of it. It
Mhm.
sounds like this is going to really strum the heartstrings for you.
I think it will, because never before have I been so excited to walk into cathedrals I love going to church now, and I've never been so excited about the history, and I love St. James, and it's just so exciting. When I was younger, after college, a bunch of us went off to Europe and we got the chance to see all of these places, but we would rather just go to the bar and party and be in Europe, and it didn't matter. And now it's just so important to me to soak it all in and be out in nature and meet the locals and build relationships and get closer to God and go to mass. And it's like all of the things that are most important in my life to me are all coming together at once.
Fantastic. I mean, we could stop there. There we go. But we won't. We'll keep going.
Okay.
I love it. Okay, so your plans were evolving from the very moment that you found out about the Camino from I'll walk in September to, oh no, now I'll walk in March. Oh, and I'll start from Porto. So you said, I think that you were originally going to go by yourself,
Mhm.
and maybe that changed a little bit. So who's going and why?
Okay, well, I started out the first 2, 3 months walking on my own and going to REI and finding my backpack. By the way, big plug to them. They know everything. Got everything going. I jumped online. I actually decided to book my places to stay online in advance just to make me feel more comfortable
Okay.
about that. That's the only reason. I just wanted that comfort level. And I started walking from my neighborhood down the street. And some days, midday, I would notice this one neighbor of mine who just was out and about. And I knew she was a teacher. And I didn't know why she was not at work. So I asked her, and she said, I'm taking a little sabbatical for personal reasons. And if you don't mind, I'd love to go on walks with you. And I said, I would love that. So she
Oh,
started out with her little 12-pound weighted vest, and the walks became so fun walking with her. And she was going through something personal, and I could tell, and she was opening it up and sharing with me. And one day she said to me, I'd really like to go with you. And I was just ranting and raving about the Camino and your podcast and everything that I was learning. And she was getting excited. And so when she turned to me and asked me, it just felt right. I feel like this is exactly what she needs as well. And I think for me, it'll be interesting because one of the things that I need to work on with myself is relationships. And being with the person the entire time, well, that's definitely going to require me to hunker down and really focus on a relationship building situation, if you want to call it that.
well, it is that
Yeah.
actually. And it depends on what agreements that you make going into it. So, what kind of conversations have you had about the trip and what you are expecting and what you expect from each other?
Well, Nancy, I'm not shy. So the minute she
I
said that to me, can I go? Of course, it was a pause. And then I really felt the spirit saying, the answer is yes, Dara. Just say yes. And then I remembered one of your podcasts that you had with somebody else where you were talking about establishing boundaries
Mhm.
and how important that was. And this other woman that had a friend coming, and I think she was originally going solo. So immediately, I didn't waste any time. I said to her, okay, but we have to establish some boundaries. We're going to have to talk about this because I've already booked places and I'll have to check if I can get make sure we get 2 beds. I don't want to be attached at the hip. I'm Catholic. I want to go to Mass. I want to see all of these, places where St. James came through. And, I want to go see his remains at the end. I want to, I'll just all this stuff I had on my bucket list that I want to see and do. And I said, if it fits in your budget and you can go along with what I've planned so far, and we can come to an understanding that we don't have to walk together every day, and there's going to be days I'm going to want to wake up and just be in silence and walk 2 hours. Are you good with that? And she was like, oh, yes, thank God. Because I would, I said, we're going to get sick of each other if we don't set some boundaries and
Mhm.
don't take it so personally.
Mm.
And she found, though, I'd already known that she would agree with that because we had walked so much already that and found we had so much in common that we're both very independent people, but we also, we developed an understanding that we kind of are introverted extroverts, or is it extroverted introverts? So we'll get that squared away.
I love all of that. Yeah, because this is not a vacation. This
Mm-mm.
is not something where if it gets a little tense, you can go, you know what, you sit at that end of the beach for a while, and I'll sit at that end of the beach for a while. You are sharing a room every night. And I think the deeper component, though, is the inner journey that you'll be on. You can anticipate to some extent what the days will be like walking, finding food, uphill, downhill, difficult terrain, easy terrain. But what you don't know is what the inner journey is going to bring for you and what challenges and yeah, and what you'll be called to do and who you'll be called to be.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm so excited for that part. I can't
Hmm.
tell you.
Tell me about that.
I just, I can't explain this pull that I have to go do this. And I don't know if it's a good or bad thing, but it's the only thing on my mind lately. I mean, I'm a Camino freak and I haven't even been on it, but I just feel so pulled to go. And I know that something amazing is going to come out of this. And I
Mm.
might think that it might be this relationship building aspect, but it could be something totally different. And I already know that I've gone on many trips solo before. I've gone on many trips that are just the active side of it, but my heart is feeling this spiritual tug. And so for me, as much as I'm going for all those other reasons, I know that this is the reason, and only God knows what that is. And so it's a matter of just putting that faith in his hands and like opening my heart and my mind and getting on that path, meeting the people I meet. I think it's just seeing what comes my way. And I'm quite certain I'm not going to be the same person, or there's going to be more to my heart when I leave, when I get to Santiago,
Yeah.
because there's more in my heart now before I've left.
Just from planning and preparing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I firmly believe that the pilgrimage begins the moment you say yes to it.
Yeah, I believe this too. I'm getting antsy. I want to go.
I know, right? And then here's the hard part is waiting for the calendar to click down so you can get on the plane and go. I totally get that. Yeah.
Well, on the flip side, I have a little toe injury that I'm dealing with, so I need the time to heal, but
Yeah.
yeah, I want to get on that path and I want to get going.
Yeah. So let me ask you this. Knowing what your focus is for this, in what ways are you already or can you be on that spiritual path now before you even leave home?
Well, I'll tell you what, on my daily walks, I tend to listen to um, podcasts that are either about the Camino or they are faith-based podcasts. And when you're walking, like I've been walking a couple hours, 2, 3 a day, some days, and you're entrenched in that, it gives you a lot of time to be introspective and to grow your faith. And that's been definitely happening. Also, with a few of these little setbacks I've had, like I mentioned, my toe, that takes a lot of faith. You know, an injury could happen on the Camino or before the Camino while you're training. And I think that it just takes a lot of trust in yourself and faith. And it's just a lot to it. Um, Hard one, see.
Yeah, but I think you got it. I think what you've done is you've started to tune your mind and your heart to those spiritual conversations
Mhm.
and to conversations of openness toward what this journey will be. And that level of mindfulness, you know, from your work as a wellness coach, that level of mindfulness attracts what you're looking for.
Oh, yeah. And just like when you buy a new car, you see them all over the street. When
Yeah,
you mention the Camino, those that have been on it, their eyes light up in such a way, and everybody wants to share their story. Even on
definitely.
social media, you'd think,
Yeah.
oh, you've already done it. Why would you want to come back and give me a tip? You know, but it's, you can tell there's something very special about it. And so my heart is already feeling like it's opening more.
Mm,
Yeah.
beautiful. Now, this toe, what's going on with your toe?
Oh, I made a big mistake. I have a
Okay.
crooked toe. It was rubbing on the top of my shoe a
Okay.
lot when I would get to hiking. And I went to the podiatrist and he convinced me to have what is supposed to be a very minor surgery to release the tendon to flatten the toe. I had it 3 days ago and it's very humbling. I'm really nervous about being prepared,
Hmm.
going from walking so much with my pack at about, I'd say 14 pounds to right now taking complete rest and elevating it and doing what I'm supposed to do so I can rehab and get and not have any complications and be able to do this walk. But you know, what's done is done. I made the decision to have it, and so my partner that I'm walking with, my neighbor, she has been experiencing some knee issues and her knees swelling, and we just said to each other, okay, going back to boundaries and guidelines. We've already decided, you know, if somebody's having an issue and the other one wants to continue walking, go for it. But now I'm the one that might be the one having issues. I thought she was the one that was going to have them, but
Yeah.
we'll see what happens.
Well, that's an important conversation to have. I'm glad you've had that. But
Yeah.
you said that it was a big mistake to have the surgery, but you don't know yet.
I don't know yet. I mean, maybe this is part of my Camino experience early, you know? I don't know yet. I felt my intuition was saying don't have it, but then I went ahead and did. And so it's kind of like we'll see what happens. I have right now as we talk, I have a new shoe that just arrived from REI on my right foot. and my left one's all bandaged up. But because I think maybe I should just have gotten a wider toe box in my shoe. Like,
Yeah.
I'm still playing around with shoes as well. So
Yeah. Yeah.
we'll see.
Well, you said maybe this is part of your Camino experience. This is part of
Okay,
your Camino experience. And so, what I always assume is that everything that happens once we say yes is part of the experience, and we get to determine why and what it means.
good one. Well, okay, I'm gonna go with that because for me to sit settled and in
Yeah.
silence a lot right now with my toe elevated is very humbling.
Well, okay, my friend, I'm going to challenge you then because this is the inner journey. This
Yeah,
is it right here.
this is it.
Yeah.
But I have faith I'll be okay and I'll get on.
Yeah. Think how much you could read right now while you can't walk.
Oh, I am.
Yeah. And just find those spiritually uplifting readings and books and stories and fill your heart with those.
Yes. No, that
Yeah.
has been happening. In fact,
Yeah.
I can't think of the name of the book off the top of my head, but someone just gave me one of these Camino books. It's a fiction, but I love it.
Yeah.
And it just touched my heart, and I'm looking for more books to pick up. But also, yeah, I'm spending more time in what I call my little prayer chair and spending time with God because it's just me and my cat here in this place. So we're having a ball as I
Yeah.
feel. Yeah.
Yeah, it is part of the journey. I'm convinced of it. And the other thing, and I think you're actually quite fortunate, you still have what, 6 weeks until you go?
6 weeks. Yeah.
Yeah, so sometimes what happens is people incur injuries in the final weeks before they go. Like all of a sudden the corner of the couch jumps out and
Oh,
kicks your toe, and you break a toe on the couch, or
ah,
you trip over something on the floor in the living room and uh, those are the kind of things that if we're not mindful and we're not aware, they can completely derail our caminos. But you made a choice and you've got time to heal
I,
and be
yeah.
ready. And maybe it's slowing you down. Do you need to be slowed down in life in general?
I can't believe you just said that because that's what I was thinking just this morning. Yes, I believe so. I believe
Uh,
so. But mostly my mind. I'm not like a busybody. It's just my mind needs to slow down a bit and I need to reflect a little bit more. So
you are on the Camino.
I'm
You're
on
already
for
there.
you.
Yeah, this is it. This is the
Where's the food?
pilgrimage.
The food's
I
not
know,
here.
right? I want those pastries that they talk about. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, very good. All right. So let me
Yeah.
ask you this. What is the one thing that you really want to talk about this Camino, but no one's asked the right question yet?
Oh gosh. Okay, well there's a funny one and that's just going to the bathroom. What if you really have to go?
Uh-huh.
What do you do? No one's talking about this. I know this sounds like it, but what do you do?
Well, you find a tree. I mean, ideally you wait till the next town and you go into a bar and you buy a coffee and you use the bathroom or, buy a snack or something. That's ideal. But you also do need to be prepared to do a trailside experience. So, really important though is the leave no trace concept, which if you're a hiker, you know that one. You don't leave toilet paper, you don't leave trash, you don't leave solids on the side of the trail. Yes.
Exactly. Yes, I know that one. I just was
Yeah.
relieved to hear that it does happen and
It
people do
does.
it and it's not like, ooh, not that
Yeah.
I'm thinking I'm going to have that, but you never know. You
You
could do
might,
something wrong.
standard hiker protocol, you don't want to do it in the field where food is growing.
Yeah.
You don't want to do it close to a water source. You don't want to do it in someone's yard. Just so you'd be surprised what people do. It's
Yeah.
sad. It's really unfortunate and sad. And there's a lot of trash that's left along the Camino on these bathroom breaks. So
Oh, that breaks my heart.
yeah, so and I'll just say carry a trash bag, just a little plastic something that you can stick the stuff, the paper or handy wipes or whatever you're using so that you can dispose of those when you get to the next town.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, I know I don't believe you've done the Portuguese
Mm-mm.
trail, but okay. I'm going to be there during Easter, which is
Oh,
really
yeah.
important to me. And so I've been having trouble online finding where I could possibly go to a really special Easter Mass,
Mm.
being there in that time. But I guess I'll just learn that as I go. I guess the
Yeah,
locals there can help and
absolutely. Your host will always know where to find a mass.
yeah.
Where will you be on Easter or on the Saturday before?
The Saturday night, I am going to be I'm heading up the hill. There's a steep climb up to, I believe it's Armenteria,
Okay.
which is a monastery.
Yeah,
So the night before, I'll be in a little town. Well, I'll be in Pontevedra, which I think is a bigger town.
that's a city. Yeah,
That's
you'll
the city
find.
center. Yeah.
Yep.
So if there's an Easter vigil, I could go then.
Yeah. Yeah. It would be just asking your host wherever you
Yeah,
are. Hmm.
yeah. I
Yeah.
don't have a host that night though. So
Oh, you can like an Airbnb or apartment rental?
yeah, I mixed it up. I'm
Nice.
staying, yeah, I mixed it up. I have a couple albergues, I have a couple casas, I have a couple hotels, I have I think one monastery. Like I thought I'd just kind of get a taste for all the different ways to
Great.
stay. Yeah.
Yeah.
So then find out what my vibe is for the
I
next.
love that. For the next one, for the Frances route. I love
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
So then, if you don't have a host, then I would probably pop into the closest church or a big church, if you want a cathedral.
mhm,
There's a very special church in the center of Pontevedra, which I
mhm.
can't think of the name, but anyone who's walked through there who's listening is now going, it's called this, but it's right in the center. It's a very special church. So,
Oh, good.
yeah, so maybe check that out. You can't miss it. I think it's round. It's really interesting architecturally, and it's right in the center by where some of the big plazas are.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah.
Okay.
And there's a great cookie shop right down the way, but probably closed on Easter.
Oh, that's another thing.
Yeah.
Are places typically closed on Sundays? Is that the way it is?
Yes and no. Yes and no. So, supermarket shops, food shops, and like regular shopping, like let's go buy clothes, those kind of shops will be closed typically. And I will also say that in some places along the Camino, places stay open and stay open to serve the pilgrims. I would expect some bars to be open on Sundays. Typically, I would inquire coming up to Easter. I would ask your host a day or two before what you can expect because Easter is a special holiday. Good Friday could be a special holiday. Not being Catholic, I don't know how
Mm,
important, I don't know the relative importance of those holidays to each other. So I
yeah.
don't know which days, in the US, everything's closed on Easter, but everything's open on Good Friday. I don't know
Yeah.
if that would be reversed. So I would inquire as you're approaching it.
That's a great idea. So.
But be on the lookout for Semana Santa celebrations as well, because the Holy Week in Spain, anyway, is celebrated with great enthusiasm.
Yay.
Yeah, so you might find some processions.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. No, I feel really blessed to be getting to go during this time.
yeah,
And it sounds to me like March isn't that popular. Most people come out in April, the pilgrims. So I'm going to get a little bit of 50-50
yeah.
in terms of,
Even May.
okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. That's okay. That's good. A little mix of quiet time and then a mix of,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
In fact, it's around the area where we merge that it'll be April, I think, where the
Okay,
trails, where the coastal route and the central route merge is going to be the beginning of April, I believe.
okay.
Correct. So great.
Yeah, very good. All right, well, I have one more question for you, and then we'll see what questions you have if I can answer any. But I want you to imagine you're walking into Santiago or you're standing in the plaza in front of the cathedral. What are you thinking and feeling?
Nancy, you you hit another very emotional. This is an emotional question because I think I already know how I will feel. And I've
Okay.
heard you ask this to others on podcasts, and And the reason I think I know about how I'm going to feel is because I love looking forward to something, whether I'm training for a marathon or another big, some sort of a trip. I once went up Mount Everest, and these are big things. And for me, this Camino is a big thing, and I already know in my heart that I have to prepare my heart for the ending. But in this case, I'm really hoping that this Camino carries on with me. When you finish a marathon, you train, you train, you train, you do it, you complete the marathon, yay, and then it's a big womp womp womp. It's
Yes.
like,
Yes.
oh, and you have to have something else. So for me, I am loving this excitement. I'm cherishing the excitement of going. I know that I'm going to cherish every day, whether the good, the bad, the ugly, the rainy. I'm going to be so grateful to be there because I also already know that once I get to that destination, I know that that feeling in my heart, there's going to be it's going to be a happy bummer. You know what I'm saying? It's
Perfect.
going to be like the
Yes.
best bummer. That's the only way
Yeah.
I can describe it. And
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
That's just perfect. Yeah, but it does bring up, how do you transition from Santiago back home? How do you care for yourself after being in this sacred space of the pilgrimage route? How do you care for yourself when you go back home?
yeah. Wow. That is that re I just guess that remains to be seen. I mean, I'm I know that I'm going to have been greatly impacted by
Hmm.
this adventure, by this spiritual journey, by all of this. So, and going back to the daily grind, I mean, I just hope that I can bring a piece of it and share it with others. I
Mm.
hope I can keep the spirit of my experience alive. It will be exciting that I know some people at my church that have done Caminos, so it'll be
Yes,
exciting to
yes.
come back and share with them. But it's like anything coming off of a huge experience, returning home. It's like I think it's going to be like coming home from the best vacation ever on steroids. You're like, you don't really want to be back, but you got to dump yourself back into the world and
Yeah.
hopefully bring something with it that you can share with others.
Well, and I think, and I talk about this on the podcast, I'm not sure if you've gotten to the episodes yet. I talk about what happens after, and that part of the point of going on pilgrimage is to have something to bring back home with you and to have your life be different because you did it, but also to bring that back into your community, into your circle of friends, and into your family. It's a
Yes.
really important part of pilgrimage.
Well, that will be happening. I participate in a program with the Catholic Church called OCIA, and it's for people who are interested in joining the Catholic Church or coming back to it. And I intend to, ask them if there's any kind of prayer or anything that they would like me to focus an intention on. And I was kind of thinking of picking, I'll be doing this for about 12 to 13 days. And maybe there's about 13, 14 people in this particular program. And maybe dedicating a day to reflect on what they said, what they want for them at the end of the journey, and then bringing back the experience of that day and sharing it with them or something like that, you know?
I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there are a number of ways that people have shared on the podcast over the 140 episodes or so that they invite people to write a prayer or share something with you that they would like prayer for while they're on the Camino, or send a thought or a question for a particular day that you will reflect on. So there are a number of different ways that you can involve people in this for
Yeah.
sure.
I'll have to think a little harder about how I'm going to go about doing that. But those very people on Easter Sunday are getting confirmed into the Catholic Church.
Oh,
So
wow.
I want to do something special on that day as well, because
I love it.
that's important to me, and do something like have a moment in their honor. I don't know. I've got to put it all
You'll find it. You'll
together.
find it. So something comes to mind that I wanted to share with you because I think you're relatively new to the podcast, to listening to the podcast. Is that true?
Yeah, I came across it about 4 weeks ago, maybe.
Okay. Okay. So you're probably not past episode 100 yet, would be my guess.
Probably.
Okay. All right. So when it's time for you to come home, I'm going to invite you to jump ahead. And this is for anybody who is going to be coming home from the Camino soon. And that is to jump ahead to after episode 126. Now, you would think it would be episode 127, but it's not because I did 4 episodes without numbers, stuck
Okay.
in the middle there, focused on after the Camino.
Okay.
Okay. And what it was particularly focused on was mining the lessons of the Camino. So, in wherever you listen to podcasts, see if you can jump ahead to 126 and then find the next 4, and you'll
Okay.
learn about that. Yeah.
Okay. That'll be good.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
No, I've been loving your podcast, Nancy. I've got to tell you, your voice is so soothing to
Oh,
listen to. And the way you bring information and share and allow others to share, I just have been receiving it so well. And it's just
mm,
been really fun to go on my walks and learn a little from everybody and as they prepare. So it'll be exciting to learn what people have said when they've come back and what they've shared as well.
yeah. Thank you for that. I really appreciate it. And it's definitely a labor of love for me. I love to talk to first time pilgrims. I love your perspective. I love that sense of wonder. I don't know what I'm getting myself into, but I know I got to do it. So it's really
Yeah.
fun. Excellent. Well, can I answer any questions for you?
I don't believe I mean, I think I've just got to go in there and see what happens. And um, yeah, I don't know. I don't think so. Because, you
That's
just
okay.
don't know what to ask when you don't
Yeah.
know really what's going to
Yeah.
come your way. And I'm really excited for some of the mystery of it.
Great.
Really
Yeah.
excited for that.
Wonderful. Well, we can end on that note. I really appreciate your time. It's been just been lovely chatting with you, and I can't wait to hear how it goes.
Thank you, Nancy. And I really appreciate this opportunity to just get to talk to this person I listen to every day. So thank you. And
I'm glad we get to spend so much time together on the trail getting ready.
absolutely. Thank you,
Yeah.
Nancy.
All righty. We'll end there, and I'll wish you a beautiful journey.
Thank you. Have a beautiful day yourself, too.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.